Mm, mm, very disappointing.
All right, guys, we are live, and yeah, that was one of the worst games. I mean, in recent memory, when I think about it, when I think about it was Hugh Jackson era. I mean, it was Freddie Kitchens era. It was. I mean, I put out a tweet. I was saying like it started off with absolutely horrendous horrendous referees, and we'll get into every piece of this. But just everybody, just give me a second so I can get off. I just can rant for a moment. I'm not blaming the entire game on the refs, but I mean, it is getting to the point in the NFL, and I don't know how everybody else feels, but so much of this sport has become itsy bitsy judgment calls, and they are getting them wrong so consistently that it's not enjoyable to watch the game when every single positive play that we make, we have to sit there and go, no flag, no flag, no flag, oh, no flag. We have to do that on every positive play, whether it's a sack, an interception, a touchdown, a long run, just a normal play. Every normal play, we have to hold our breath because these guys are so effing incompetent that they can't figure it out. And I mean, you want to talk about the first half of the game where it was nonstop flag, 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 flag. And then you get the roughing the passer call that they showed on the replay, that I believe it was Jackson comes off the edge and literally touches Kyler Murray, and it's a fucking flag. Whereas when Baker Mayfield gets tackled in the back where the defender helmet to helmet, bam, right there, hits him, and they show it multiple times. That's perfectly legal in the NFL by these horrible refs. And then, but Kyler Murray, if you just breathe on him, it's a pass interference, or I'm sorry, it's roughing the passer. So then you got these awful refs. And then you have the Browns who decide that, hey, you know what? We have the Arizona Cardinals, who on paper are one of the worst defensive teams against the run, and they're missing one of the best linebackers in the league, Chandler Jones. And you know what we decide to do? Steffanski decides to do. He breaks out that Ivy League diploma. He breaks it out, and he's writing his plays on the back of it. And they all say, worst defensive team against the run. We have the best offensive team with the run. Now, hey, Nick Chubb's out. Guess what? You still have Kareem Hunt. You still have Dearness Johnson. You know what we do? The whole first quarter, let's take our quarterback who has his shoulders half hanging on his goddamn arm, and let's go empty backfield and let him throw. And then when he throws, we get our Pro Bowl tight end who doesn't look anything like a Pro Bowl tight end anymore, who's dropping passes. Our other tight end, the ball's hitting him in the hands. He's almost creating an interception. Holding. Our backup tackles are letting guys come in and completely untouched. And then on top of that, our defense can't do a damn thing. We have reverted back to the cardiac skids, the Joe Woods, the Borange Crush, the veal curtain. This is who you got, Joe Woods, right? So our defense can't do anything, and then the injuries come. And we lose JOK, and we lose Kareem Hunt, and we lose Odell Beckham. Now he comes back in. Then we lose Baker Mayfield. It comes back in. Those guys are hurt. They are hurt. Do not doubt. They came back in and tried to play through it. That's this is one that makes it very hard to be an NFL fan, because either the referees are incompetent, which I'm not throwing it past them, or they're bought and paid. Because statistically, it's impossible to be this terrible. It just is. And then now we have a short week, and we got a Denver Broncos team who, on paper, we all circled as a win. Right now, I don't know. Dad, what were your thoughts?
Very similar, Mike. Worst game I've seen the Browns play in 20 years. With the talent that they had, in the past, they didn't have the talent, so they played bad. You chalk it up. But going in, we have the talent. They just didn't perform. They had to play at A, B+ level. They played at D- level, F level. I mean, the first drive, the right tackle lines up off the ball, and he gets flagged after we get the first down. Tacky calls like that. It was very, very disappointing, sloppy with the penalties. Too many fourth and go for it. Take the damn points and keep yourself in the game. You're going to need the points later on. I mean, we were 1 for 4, and we gave up at least 6 points, maybe 9 points we gave up. And then like you said, Mike, getting our guys hurt like that, and then having to come back on a short week against Denver. The only good part is Denver got crushed by the Raiders today, so they're not playing very well either. So it'll be, who's going to make the other guys win on Thursday night. If Baker plays, he'll have to sit out. Maybe Chubb comes back, maybe he doesn't. Next man up from the practice squad, Johnson plays. They develop some other, Peoples made a couple of nice catches, 2 touchdowns. Higgins, I think he made 1 catch in the first half, and then he was non-existent. No screen. I don't think they threw a screen pass with Hunt in there the entire game. They did not throw with that aggressive, in-your-face defense coming at you every time. They did not throw.
They tried to do the screen pass where they faked it to like 17 guys, fake it to one guy, fake it to another guy, and try to throw it to Hooper. And then Baker missed him because he can't hit the wide side of a barn with the football. So he missed him less than 7 yards in front of him. Right. So he can't even hit little dinky plays like that. Yeah. Baker's accuracy, he's not right now. He is not the guy he was last year. Yeah. He's not even the Freddie Kitchens guy. He's not 2019 Baker Mayfield.
I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him out. Casey Keenum plays on Thursday. They give him all the reps during the week to give us, a pretty good chance to win the game if we can at least put some help.
It's a sad state of events that we are in when your statement is probably rings true, that in order for us to have a chance to beat a mediocre Broncos team, we have to consider playing Case Keenum. Mike, what are your thoughts on the game? I know you're patiently waiting to chomp on the bone here a bit as well.
I mean, early in the game, I know we hate the refs, but for me, early in the game, especially on that first drive, I didn't agree with the play calling. But then you've got Hudson on the line. The ref told him to play before. You got to get up on the line of scrimmage. He doesn't. Yeah. We have a big play, flag, warranted. On the defensive side of the ball, 2 pass interference calls against Denzel. I think both of them were warranted, especially on the second one. I mean, Denzel didn't play the ball. He didn't look back. He just mauled the guy. So the roughing the passer, obviously, I mean, they got to do better than that. But the calls in the beginning there, I wasn't as agitated about those as I was last week, because, they unfortunately they were the right call. Now, do they take the laundry out of their pocket a bunch more than maybe they should? I think that's an issue too. But play calling suspect, first drive, you go empty first 3 plays or whatever it was, and then you had the one that was called back. The whole game, we talked about it earlier. Hunt's banged up going into the game, and you don't spell him. And you not that we ran a lot, but when we did run, he ran hard as he does. And
that one drive we ran him 2 or 3 times, and he got 10, 12 yards every time until they stopped him. And then we got down there and we threw a nice, out slant to people's joints, and he caught it. And I thought we were back in the game. And obviously the Hail Mary worked to our benefit at the end of the first half, which was a gift. But still just wasn't enough. We just didn't have the horses. We didn't have the play calling, the coaching, the discipline, you name it. And they made the plays when they had to.
Yeah. And
3rd and 21, and they make a touchdown. Not even, a 4th down field goal. No, they throw it to the end zone. The guy makes the catch, and boom, they're up by 14 or 14-3 or whatever it was. It was just horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you have both tackles out. I didn't think Hans played bad, but I mean, it's very hard to win in this league when you've got your top guys playing. It's even that much harder when you've got a lot of backups at certain positions. The one thing that I can say, I don't understand at this point if it's the players or if it's the coach, but you cannot in this league continuously, game after game, give me touchdowns. I mean, for I can understand blown coverage, I can, but a blatant blown coverage, and not only like it's not even like it's blatant blown coverage on a tight end that's mediocre. I mean, it's DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, how is he not marked up? Like 2 guys on him, but instead somehow we have a miscommunication again, and there's another gimme touchdown. But to Dan's point too, earlier, I understand the whole analytics point of it. I get it. But sometimes it's better to just take the points, because instead of being 14-0 and 17-0, maybe it's 14-3. Right. And it's a different mindset. And I don't care what anybody tells you. I mean, being down 10 or 14 or 17 or 7, the 7 looks a lot better, and it looks a lot better to the guys on the sideline as well. So I think that that's deflating in a way. Sure. But I don't. I'm at a loss, to be quite honest with you. I don't know. I don't know where they go from here. I do. I mean, I think they beat the Broncos on Thursday. I mean, let's put it this way: if they don't beat the Broncos on Thursday, it is going to be a very, very, very long year. And just to give you guys a little update, I did see that Steffanski said Jock suffered a right ankle injury. Whether how serious that is or not, I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, he limped off. And some of them were, like Hunt's was self-inflicted. Going up the middle, and he just turned the wrong way and twisted something, and then he just grabbed his calf and went down. So he wasn't hit. At least Baker, he was hit from behind and fell awkwardly on his left shoulder, but he gritted it out and he was coming back. But
does it bother you guys? And not to interrupt you, Dan, but you said something that sparked my.
Oh,
when does Baker's internal clock say, get rid of the ball?
Right.
I don't know if he has. I don't know if he has that trait, because he could have avoided getting hurt. I mean, how long do you possibly think that you have just tippy-toeing through the line there?
Right.
Like, do you think that nobody is behind you pursuing him?
Right.
And
Yeah,
it happens all the time.
I agree. I agree. And Stefanski put him in that mode. You know, when he got hurt, I told Michael this. When we were watching the game, I said when Baker got hurt and he hurt his shoulder and came back in, it's at the end of the game. Stefanski said in the press conference, I purposely put in plays after he got hurt to make sure that he wouldn't get hit again, rolling him out, draw plays, screen plays. No 10-step drop where the pocket collapses on you. He didn't do that today. Everything I don't think he rolled out once. I don't think we threw one screen pass the entire game. I mean, how do you get away from that stuff? Or how do you get locked into what you have on your paper for that game that you can't improvise or say, this isn't working, so let's try something else. I mean, yeah, his rollouts, faking it one way, having everybody go that way, and him going the other way has paid off so many dividends for us. And we didn't do it once today, not once. The play calling, more than suspect. This was a blown game on the coaching, as well as the players who did not step up and do what they needed to do. I can't. Miles got a sack or two, but really not that effective. Clowney played pretty good in terms of putting pressure on. We didn't bring pressure very much. And at the end, when we had a chance maybe to get back in it, if we get the ball back, they're running the ball to use up the clock. And we have three linebackers playing 8 or 9 yards off the ball, not on the line of scrimmage, to stop the run, to fill in all the gaps and whatnot. You know, if he goes by you, fine, they score a touchdown, but you've got to stop them so that when you know they're going to run the ball, and they didn't do that. They just gave up. They just literally gave up.
I just looking at a tweet from John Sable, who says, since becoming the head coach of the Browns, Kevin Stefanski is 12 for 34 on fourth down. And Vintage Browns responded on Twitter saying, we are consistently in the bottom 1/3 of the NFL on fourth down conversions.
Kick the ball. How many?
And we have a kicker who can make kicks.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't. I'm not even going to go there. I'll shut my mouth because I'm not jinxing anything. But kick the field goal. I never understand. Look, and I get it. If you're on the road and you're in the red zone and it's fourth and whatever, you kick the points, you kick the field goal, you take the points on the road. But just because you're home doesn't mean that you keep looking at the analytics sheet, because quite frankly, the analytics sheet has been shit all year, right? And when we talk about analytics, we talk about stats. So if you then take the stats of what happens when we go for it on fourth down, now all of a sudden those stats tell you what? Kick the damn ball.
Yeah, it is.
Kareem Hunt's a calf, by the way. That was confirmed.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It is. I mean, I feel like this is nearing full blown meltdown.
I'll tell you what. It's going to. Thursday is. Like I told you guys earlier, I thought today was a must win, but if today was a must win, then Thursday is a must win times like 4.
Yeah. Max Nikolenko comes in. Stefanski hates field goals. He hates the 3 points. He hates anything that's not analytical. Max.
Probably true.
It's starting to look like that, man. It's starting to look like that. Mike, to your point about this must win, I felt like today going 3-3 against a 5-0 team, I had a hard time like saying this is the must win. But I agree with you 100%.
But we couldn't lose.
We cannot lose to the Broncos at home on Thursday night.
I don't think that you could lose to the Steelers either.
Yeah, no, that would be demoralizing. It's the way we lost today. I mean, it wasn't like the Kansas City game, and it wasn't even like the game last week with the Chargers, where it was back and forth and back and forth. And no, this was we were almost out of it after the first quarter. I can't remember a first quarter that every thing went against us, and most of it on our own part, either through coaching, play calling, or just penalties and guys making stupid decisions. And I thought, well, we're only down 7, then we were down 14, and then we got the Hail Mary. And I said, oh my God, we could actually win this game if we could play in the second half. Well, we really didn't play that well in the second half. It was just, we were just sort of going through the motions, trying not to blow it, and not aggressive on defense in terms of blitzing and putting pressure on Kyle Murray, because then he makes mistakes. He throws it high, tip ball, whatever.
The interception.
Yeah, I mean, just the Baker interception was horrible.
We got the
way behind.
We got the wrong Oklahoma quarterback that we were just off a year.
I got to tell you, Kyler Murray is good. He is as advertised, and it was interesting to watch him play today.
He's solid. More than solid.
Yeah, and every bounce
went. Kyle Duffield comes through the $6.99 super chat. Today was not a must-win against the top team. If they lose Thursday, jobs might be on the line. Inquiries or not, something is not clicking here.
Yeah, Kyle Murray gave us chances. He put it on the ground 3 times,
and
they all surprising right back to him.
Nobody even near it.
Yeah, right.
On any of them.
They hike it when he isn't looking. It goes 10 yards back, and the very next play, 3rd and 21, they score a touchdown.
I'll tell you this. You know what I found interesting too today? Myles Garrett was completely neutralized, other than basically a coverage sack, and it allowed Jadeveon Clowney to play solid. Jadeveon Clowney didn't have a bad game. Where the bad game came in was our secondary. I need to go off on our secondary here. Troy Hill is terrible. Grant Delpit is terrible. Like they might have athletic ability, but their awareness has got to be at the bottom of the league. We're not getting interceptions. We're not knocking the ball down. We're giving up way too many. I mean, when any quarterback sits back there and just sits there and fires with intention, it's always it's not even like covered and it's wide open.
It'd be interesting to go back and watch the Ravens against the Chargers. And you heard me preach a couple of weeks ago, the number 1 defense for the last 3 years are the Ravens. And they blitz 50% plus of the time. And I'd be interested to go back and watch that game, because they dominated the Chargers. They didn't let them score. They must have put pressure on Herbert or whoever their quarterback is, and he could do nothing. But that's attributable to the coaching philosophy. Put the pressure on. If he beats you, he beats you. But if he doesn't, good things could happen for us. And we did it a couple of times today, but I bet you percentage-wise, it was probably 20% at best, maybe even below that. You can't win, and you can't let a Kyler Murray have that much time, or a Brady, or an Aaron Rodgers. They will just kill you. And he didn't do it so much with his legs today. They contained him pretty well. I don't think he had that much in. He had that one where he ran for a touchdown because there was nobody on the edge, but the game was pretty much over at that point anyway. So that one aspect they did, but he beat us with his arm. He made some nice throws. They made some nice catches. Guys were wide open, even dropping 7. We rushed 4, we dropped 7. We still can't stop them.
I mean, it's Dad, you made a really interesting point that I just want to point out. The fact that you said he can kill you with his blank. We do not have a player. There wasn't a player on the field today that for the Browns that we could say that he can kill you with his blank. There was a lot of, there's guys with talent out there. There's guys with talent. right? And you've got guys, you got OBJ out there, you got Kareem Hunt out there. They played their heart out, but Baker had big mistakes today.
Mhm.
Another fourth down drop from Odell Beckham.
Yeah, it was a drop, but the guy had his hand
Yeah, he did. I
in there
agree.
too.
Yeah,
So
he
it
knocked it
wasn't as
out.
bad as last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
No, it wasn't a blatant drop, but the bottom line is it was a makeable play, and you have to make that play, and you couldn't get it.
Yeah, and you got to get separation. I mean, if you don't get the separation, the guy's going to put his arm in front of you and knock the ball down. Come back to the ball or run a shorter route. That one he ran on the sidelines where he just turned the guy around on that one drive that they
It's
had.
beautiful.
There was absolutely. I mean, it's just classic. He faked to the inside. The guy bit on it. He turned around and went to the outside. And of course, he catches it and goes out of bounds. He doesn't make any yardage on it. But it was a first down, and it led to that drive that we got.
We had a super chat that came in from Rick Adkins who said, "Fact is, we got taken to the woodshed," and
no question about it.
This was again, we were talking about it today in the pregame show. It was like, can we have a game where we actually feel from start to finish very confident that we had won this game? And that's kind of, if you take away the Hail Mary, they played about as comfortable as you could play.
Ooh.
I mean, we got beat by AJ Green. We got beat by DeAndre Hopkins. We got beat by Kyler Murray. We got beat by all of their running backs.
Connor, how many yards did Connor make up after he was hit, either at the back in the backfield, on the line of scrimmage, or 2 yards above, over the line of scrimmage? He added, because he kept driving with his legs. He must be very, very strong, because he carried guys 4 and 5 and 6, and one time he carried him 7 yards after getting hit by a couple of guys. That's very discouraging too. I mean, you make a play. We had a lot of good first downs and second downs. And I think what was their third down efficiency, Mike? I bet you they killed us.
I'll tell you in one moment. All right, on third down stats. Third down, they were 8 for 15, okay. and we were 3 for 10. Fourth down, they were 1 for 1. We were 1 for 4.
Right. I mean, there you
go.
What's really frustrating is Denzel Ward, 5th pick in the draft or whatever it was, 5th or 6th. Newsom's a rookie. You give him a little bit slack, but again, another first-round pick. And Greedy, for all intent and purpose, was almost a first-round pick. He was the first pick. They got to do better. Like I just don't get it. And I'm starting to believe that, and I was right there with it. Hey, give 8 weeks, 7 weeks to Woods.
Right.
I'm starting to believe that this scheme just doesn't work, and doesn't work to the effect that either it's just very beatable, from an offensive standpoint, or is it one of those schemes that has these guys thinking too much, and in turn they're thinking and not playing, and that's why I've just never seen blown coverage like this. I gotta be honest with you guys. Have you? I've never seen back-to-back games where guys are just left wide open. And it's not like it's Ricky Seals-Jones that's being left wide open. It's Mike Williams twice. It's DeAndre Hopkins. It's mad.
Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. I mean,
and the best is.
Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I just saw a quote come in from Kevin Steffanski. We're talking about fourth down efficiency and field goals, and I just lost it, but it was something to the tune of, we're not doing very well on fourth down conversions. I need to do a better job of getting guys open. How about you just kick the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I I think I don't think Mike and Dad, you correct me if you're if you know the answer to this. Have we have you ever remember in the last 20 years, just since 99, have you ever remember the Browns leave, like scoring touchdowns one thing, somebody falls down, right? Yeah, something like that. But to have somebody who's open to the point where there's nobody even within camera shot. Do you remember a Browns defense that has done that numerous times that has allowed them to be actual touchdown scoring plays?
No.
I cannot.
Yeah, but like I was telling you earlier, that the league rules have changed over the last 20 years. They're protecting the quarterback. The holding calls are a dime a dozen. The interference calls are a dime a dozen. So it's just a different game than we were used to watching, say, for the last 15 years. I mean, the last 5 years, it's changed dramatically with the Holmes coming in and the Kyler Murrays and Lamar Jacksons coming in, who are able to move around and yet not get really hurt. So the teams are looking at it. Oh, we don't have to have a pocket quarterback anymore. We can go with a guy that scrambles because they're, if you slide and so forth, you're protected and blah, blah, blah. So the game has changed quite a bit. And obviously the mentality of taking the points and never taking points off the board, because coaches get criticized for that. It's a different game. And like you were saying, Mike, it's hard to watch the NFL when your team keeps coming up short on the penalties and the bad calls and so forth. You just feel it's rigged against you, and you lose your enthusiasm to watch the games.
Yeah.
Hey, they said Mayfield left in an arm sling.
Yeah, figures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see him on Thursday. I think Casey Keenum is gonna get the nod tomorrow or Tuesday when they have practice, I guess.
Yeah.
And hopefully he can take enough snaps. I was hoping they would have got a first down so he could have got another series, thrown a couple more passes and whatnot, just get, some feel for the game before he has to go cold on Thursday night.
Yeah. 19 EHF. Thank you for the $1, my man. Yeah, at this point, I think the I'll tough it out experiment needs to be put on pause, right? I mean, there's something wrong.
Right.
He has become a liability versus a strength, and
Right.
even if Baker at 60% is probably what we're going to get out of Case Keenum, at least a healthy Case Keenum probably gives us a better chance at this point. Baker Mayfield today was 19 of 28, 234, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 2 fumbles, both of them for a loss. He was sacked 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
We had 9 penalties today. 9 penalties for 88 yards. We had
bad penalties too, in bad situations where we could have got off the field. We could have made a first down, put us 1st and 20. I mean, just, and they picked up the flag once or twice too. Otherwise we would have got a couple more.
time of possession. They had the ball for 34 minutes, 39 seconds. We had the ball for 25 minutes, 21 seconds, because we didn't run the ball ever. Browns. Oh, here we go. This is going to be interesting. Kareem Hunt, 14 carries, 66 yards, 4.7 average. And then Dearness Johnson had 1 carry. Anthony Schwartz had 1 carry for -3 yards. Dearness Johnson.
And that's speaking of which, like, what was that play? I mean, I get it, but march the ball down the field. That wasn't a spot to try and get cute with that. With that Schwartz reverse or whatever it was.
Tommy coming in with the $2. Only good play was the Hail Mary.
No, they had that one drive.
Kind of hard to kind of hard to. I mean, it was the only really exciting play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and
And
they work, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 15. And we got lucky. And it could have been a real momentum changer for us in the second half. We got them 3 and out. And we got the ball. And then what do? We go 3 and out and give it right back to them.
Yeah, that was the other thing. We couldn't capitalize on anything that we did well. Hey guys, really quick, for everybody who's in chat, big up. Thank you everybody who's donating and who's doing all that stuff. Appreciate it. Thank you for the super chats and everything like that. But if everybody here wouldn't mind helping us out, just hit the like button. The like button helps us out tremendously. It signals to YouTube that we have people that are active and that are enjoying the content. So please hit that like button for us, and consider subscribing to the channel, because we go live every pre and post game, and then also we do a Wednesday show. Me and Mike do a Wednesday show that sometimes my dad will join as well. So if you like Browns content and you like hearing guys talk about it from deep down in their soul, then you will like Brownie Postgame. So we hope that you guys join as subscribers, and if not, that's okay with us as well. Even if you're not a Browns fan, if you happen to be a Cardinals fan or Fly Guy, you happen to be a Ravens fan, just hit the like button, help us out. That would really appreciate it.
hey, just for Dan there, not to interrupt you. Baker in the sling said his shoulder feels like shit, but he will play through it, and he will continue to play through the injury. So,
well, good for him. I mean, I appreciate his guts and his determination. I think he's, maybe 60%. Case Keenum could play better than that probably. If he's in that percentage where he's under 80%, I think you should sit him and give him another week. Casey Keenum, if we got some form of running and play action going, in the past he's proved he can be an okay quarterback, and maybe that's all it'll take to beat Denver, because they didn't play very well today, and it's a home game. We're motivated.
Yeah.
I just don't know how many bodies we're going to be able to.
we hope.
I mean, here, at this
We
point,
hope we're motivated.
At this point, guys, and Mary Ventresca had a good point. We're missing 2 tackles, and people are out there saying that we should completely replace the quarterback. I'm not at this point where I'm saying that, and I'm not, Mary, I'm not saying that you're saying that, we're saying that, you're saying the chat, right? I totally get that, but I want to make everybody very clear that from Rick, I'll get to your super chat in a second. I think that if we have a healthy Baker with a truly healthy Baker with a truly healthy offensive line and the guys that we need, I think Baker has talent and can play in this league. But with a not healthy Baker, a guy who's kind of toughing it out, doing things that, I mean, there's something missing. Like, there's a part of his game that's missing.
Sure.
And he's probably holding back a little bit because of that. Rick Adkins comes through. Anyone know what the Hunt injury is? Looks like an Achilles. Yeah, Mike told us earlier that it was a calf injury, Rick. So, we got two guys on the calf injury. 19 EHF with a super chat. Baker needs to stop with the tough guy act. You play through injuries is admirable, but it makes you a liability. You have to save a guy from himself. Right. It's not a bad point, and it's getting to the point where it's really hard to argue against. Now, if Baker's going out there and putting on a performance like Kyler Murray did today, 20 of 30, 229, 4 touchdowns, then I'd say play the guy. But when you're turning the ball over as many times as you have, you just can't. Something's got to give.
You got to change the play calling so he doesn't get hit.
That's it.
And to Mike's point, he just holds on to the ball too long. He's got that college mentality that if I get, and he scrambles out. The first long pass he made to Beckham he was collapsed in the pocket. He was going to go down. He realized, well, nobody's got me, so I'm going to run around. And he threw a fairly nice pass to Odell that got him out of trouble and looked like we were at the 50-yard line. But we didn't do anything with that either. We drove it down and tried to go on 4th down, and we came up with zip.
Yeah, and that play that he hurt himself. I mean, you have to have some type of awareness. And like you said, it's not college. Like you cannot dance around and continue. And trust me, I get it. The fact that he's a gamer and that never say die, I appreciate it all. But at the same time, if you throw it away there and you live to play another down, then you're not getting hit from behind and you're not popping your shoulder out awkwardly again. It was just and he fumbled on that play too, if I remember correctly, and they recovered. So you have to play smarter, and I mean that just is what it is. I mean, you got to play smarter to protect the ball, period, in the game, but you also have to be smart and say to yourself, hey, I'm hurt. I'm just starting to get back into this thing and feeling good. I have to protect me because without me, this team ain't going anywhere this year. And you know what? Real quick, I'll just throw this out there. I also think that like the cutesy play to Schwartz. Well, why call that play? Because if you're Kevin Steffanski, because Mike knows sitting out here in Delaware that if you're going to call that play, that Baker is going to go and try and block somebody.
Good point.
So just take it out of the playbook right now and just let the guy play quarterback. But
he's a wide receiver. He's not a running back. So when he comes around that end, he looks like he's going to make the corner because of his speed. But if we saw the play from the backside and watched, the two defenders go to the outside and with Baker on trying to block, if he cuts back like Chubb would normally cut back because he's a running back, he goes 20 yards up right upfield. But no, he tries to get around the edge with his speed, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's like, do you guys remember? You remember the old Nintendo hockey, where you had the fat guys, the medium guys, and the skinny guys. The skinny guys would just get knocked over like by literally anything. The wind could blow, knocks over the skinny guys. That's what Schwartz is. When he runs around the corner, if he just gets touched by anything, he's going down. And that's what happened. And they didn't bite on it. And he refused to cut back to all the daylight. When you saw where Baker, to his point, wasn't really trying to block everybody. He was trying to just get in front of somebody. And then he got in front of the one guy and let him through. And that was the guy who came through and ended up making the tackle. But if it was a judgment call on Baker's side. He either takes the blow from the first guy and then actually makes a block, or he takes on the second guy and hopes that Schwartz can get around. Either way, it was a stupid call. Mike, to your point, it was a stupid call to even put Baker in that situation where your quarterback has to make a block. It's dumb.
When he's hurt. When he's hurt.
And then you could even take it a step further. He's hurt, and we don't even attempt to establish a running game at all. And I'm not talking about after we were already getting our doors blown off. I'm talking about like let's just say the first 12 minutes of the first quarter. It's almost like, where did the wide zone run, play action, wide boot, get out on the edge, throw the ball, where did that go? Like I don't know about you guys, but for a good majority of that game, and you can't even say, I mean, we were being blown out for a minute, and then a 2-score game is not a blowout. It's, anything can happen. And it's like all of a sudden, it's like, did Freddie Kitchens just take over at Kevin Steffanski? Because now all of a sudden, like, we're just playing empty backfield, drive after drive. And I'm sorry, but, Baker's not the guy that is going to go empty backfield, and especially with the shoulder on top of it, and just start picking you apart. No, not going to happen.
When Baker's back there without a running back, I mean, it is, as soon as the pocket collapses, he's doing this, and then just look, and then he kind of bounces out. Like the one pass where he threw to OBJ, where OBJ caught the ball, stood up, and was like, "Oh my God, I'm actually out here. I'm being targeted on a pass," right? So,
and going empty with a backup right and left tackle, and I got to tell you. Yeah, Hudson seems like a good kid, but he should be on the practice squad. He shouldn't be thrown out there. And I kind of, I'm going to have to go here. I think that Barry did a poor job because he has done nothing up to this point to add solid depth at the tackle spot. Jed's been hurting for weeks, and where have we gone out to go and upgrade at that position? And the answer is really nowhere at this point.
Well, I mean, if you look at like the Blake Hance, right? And Blake, I think we all kind of agree, I mean, as probably a solid backup at this point. Yeah. Like I can't say anything about him. Hudson, not so much. And it makes you long for the days of Hubbard and Kendall Land, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would take those two over what we got. Absolutely.
In a heartbeat. I want to say, well, Hubbard's injured. I think Kendall Land was injured as well.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but I mean, dial him up.
Yeah, Hubbard just had that tricep surgery.
Yeah, and then you just don't have enough depth and to be that bad, right? And you have a quarterback who's beat up already. You need to protect him. And then my dad, you must have said probably 5 times, "Where's the screen pass?" But you really and they were playing, like, sometimes they were playing 9 guys on the line.
Right.
9. They were playing almost a goal line offense. And here's what I noticed. These teams, the book on beating the Browns right now, is stop the run. Stop the run and make Baker Mayfield beat you.
Right.
And they're challenging him, and he has not come and stepped up to the challenge and did anything with it.
Right.
He just haven't. By the way, we are 2 subscribers away from 4,600. So if you happen to not be subscribing, let's get to 4,600 right now. We're 2 subscribers away, just 2.
I got to go, Mike. So I'll let you guys wrap it up. You've heard my thoughts. I'm very disappointed. I'm glad it's a short week, that maybe we can put this behind us, other than the injuries, which is going to make it hard to put the right guys on the field. But I'll look forward to listening to you guys on Wednesday.
Yep.
And then we'll go Brownies for Thursday night, and hope we can pull one out and stop the streak.
Yeah. All right. Very good, Dad. We'll talk later.
See you, Mike.
See you, Dad.
So a super chat came in from Rick Atkins. Rick Atkins is like the superstar of this post-game show right now. Thank you very much, Rick. And Rick, I don't know, Rick, are you a subscriber? You might as well if you're dropping in the $5, man, you might as well just become a subscriber.
Hit that subscribe button.
Hit the subscribe button. Get the green name and start using some emojis, right? So we got to get you in here. As a Browns fan, I think we've starved for a quarterback for so long that maybe we're making a hamburger for a steak. Aiden coming through with a $4.99 super chat. Just subscribe, fellas. Honest opinion on our secondary. I'd like to see Richard LeCount personally. Honestly, Aiden, I'm with you. 100%. The kid had a great preseason, and I don't think I've seen a ton of him yet this season so far. So bring on Richard. We are 1 subscriber away from 46 hundo.
Yeah.
Man, one more sub, guys.
What's his name? I think it's the 7th pick 6 or whatever it is this year. We can't even get one. The kid from Dallas, Stiggs.
Yeah.
Had another one.
LVE comes through. Aiden comes through. Thank you, guys. Hit 4,600. Excellent.
Awesome.
We are on the way to 5,000 subscribers. 5,000 is a kind of a cool milestone, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's a pretty good one. Then we're on our way to. Then after that, we'll be on our way to 10. And I appreciate all of you guys very much. Thank you so much. Appreciate us help bring the channel to existence here. You guys are the first, imagine, wait till we get to 1 million subscribers, and then you guys are gonna be like, I was one of the first 4,600.
That's it. What do you so let me ask you this, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
I have to believe one of the tackles has to go on Thursday. They just have to. whoever is closest, I think, has to play, because
Yeah.
our backs against the wall. You can't win that way. I know they're not, they didn't put Chubb on the IR, and they did not rule him out for Thursday. I think that if he's feeling good by midweek, more like Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, because the game is Thursday, I think he's going to go. I think it's, it's a must win.
You think Jed's going to go?
I think either him or Conklin. I think one of them has to. You can't march these two cats out there again and hope for the best, because
No.
3 and 4 in this division, curtains.
I mean, here's the thing with, and you can't fault a guy for getting an injury.
No,
you can't. It's not. These things are freak injuries. It's not like they're just lazy. It's not like they're playing. They're not playing well. But I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know how bad Jed is. I don't know on a scale of 1 to 10 how bad it is. I don't know what the threshold is of that to say, okay, because he's gone a couple weeks, right? He's gone a couple weeks after the injury that was sustained in the Chiefs game, and even in those games he wasn't playing every down, right? And then so then it leads to ask the question. It begs the question, I should say, is he, like, at what level? Is he 70% when he's out there? Is he 60% when he's out there? Right. So like,
let me ask you.
Chubb Wubba Hub 24, the 11th member of the Brownie Postgame, coming through with the tier 1. Thank you so much. When we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, we're also trying to get to 50 members. So welcome, Chubb Wubba Hub 24. Anyway, sorry, Mike.
No, you're good. It's that is a very good thing to be interrupted for.
Exactly.
No, all I was going to say is in hindsight's 2020, but you almost have to wonder if you sit Wills weeks ago and you sit Baker weeks ago after he hurt the shoulder. I mean, how much worse for wear are we at this point? 2 and 3 on the 2 and 3 on the or 2 and 4 rather on the horrible end, but the two of them are healthy. I think you could still get 3 and 3 without those two. So you wonder if at least Jed, if they should have just sat him and let him get healthy, like, and even Baker. I mean, at what point do you step in and say, look, I appreciate it, but you're better off to me 90%, 100%. Bonzo agrees in the background. And
dog check.
And you when you rest those guys, I don't know. I mean, like I said, hindsight's 2020, but I mean, we are like the walking wounded on the offensive side of the ball.
I just don't know. It is. I thought with Kingsbury being out, with Chandler Jones being out, we were going to make it a much better game. They took care of business. Like, it was just, they got every call, they got every break, and we could not respond. And it certainly does. Again, if you look at it last week, I wonder how much that game last week and that flight home and that's demoralizing. And when you have demoralization, you have you just have, it's like momentum, right? If you wins build momentum, and they start building trust and excitement and belief. But then when you have games like the Chargers game and a long flight home where you have to think about it, it's tough. It could be shifting the culture internally to one of non-belief, one of placing the blame, non-supportive. And then you've got all these injuries that, again, sit back and go, and these aren't injuries to like third-tier guys.
Right.
I mean, these are injuries to some of the best players in the league. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Nick Chubb. I mean, you look at this stuff, and it's like you get to the point where you're like, maybe they're starting to think that they can't win. Right? I mean, today, my dad said this is the worst game he's seen in 20 years. I don't know if I could say that, because this reminded me somewhat of the Titans game, the first game of the Freddie Kitchens era. The first game where we had penalties out the ass. We really couldn't do it. Baker didn't have a good game. We had turnovers, and we were one-dimensional, and it was embarrassing. We got embarrassed. We got embarrassed at home. And I feel so bad for the people that get excited and go to these games and sit through this and have to watch it live.
Good thing I didn't go.
Yeah, Mike, that's what I was going to ask. Like, for this particular game, if you would have paid the money for the flights, for the travel, for the hotels, for the whole thing, all that investment that you make, how does that feel? Like to if right now, let's say, let me ask you this. Right now, at this moment, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being we won the Super Bowl, 1 being we just rehired Hugh Jackson, where are you on the scale of 1 to 10 after watching this game? In terms of just feelings.
That's a tough one. I could tell you Laura looked over me at the end of that game. It was like, are we really going to waste our time on Thursday?
It's interesting.
It's
literally
frustrating.
It literally is making you have to consider not going to a game.
I mean, think about this for a second. I mean, we're 3-3. We have no business being 3-3. And I get it. We have injuries, but so does everybody else. I mean,
but you look at the teams we lost to, though.
We should have won. Like, if you look back, Kansas City, we should have won. Should have won last week. Yep. But there's something going on the defensive side of the ball. And again, we said it earlier, and I don't know if the scheme's too difficult for these guys or they're just not grasping it. But I mean, not even just the that blown touchdown. I mean, I could go back on that tape on Tuesday and I could pick you out probably 10 plays on defense for the Wednesday show where they were all yelling at each other, trying to figure out who was covering who, So it's like something's got to give. And the offensive side of the ball was just a mess today, but I mean, the defense could have helped out a little bit more, but I mean, how do you? It's so tough. You put everything that you have into this, right?
Yep.
And I'm a season ticket holder from hours away that I pay for flights and I pay for hotels, and you put a lot of man hours into putting this channel together. And you and your dad, and then the man hours that I put in, to do the show, and it's frustrating, right? Like, it's absolutely frustrating because you love this team, and every time you think they love you back,
yeah,
it's like you found out they cheated on you, and then you have to compartmentalize all of this again,
yeah,
and it's just frustrating.
Super chat came in from Aiden. It's early, but what are we hoping for in the draft? Aiden, I can't even think about the draft.
That's funny.
And here's the funny thing. I mean, out of in the last 20 years, okay? The last 20 years, and I've done the math. I've gone back and looked at every draft, because I do every once in a while I put together videos where I analyze something. And then I have to go through and do all this research, go through the draft, and Wikipedia does a great job, because if you go back to like 99, every draft from there, they have like different color coding on the players. If they made, if they made a Pro Bowl, if they made, if they're in the Hall of Fame, right? All of these things. And how few Browns players had made the Pro Bowl or were really that big of an impact that were drafted players, that it is at this point in where we are in the team. Now we got a gem this year with JOK.
Yeah.
JOK, if I was really thinking about it, both him and probably Nick Chubb were the two guys that have overperformed their draft position from the Browns. How many other players that we've drafted over the past 20 years now have overperformed their position in the draft? Not many. So the draft, I wouldn't even say is like something that's not where we need to be building this team. We need to build this team with free agents, but guys like Troy Hill and John Johnson, who come in as free agents, who were supposed to be upgrades over the guys that we had in the past, who are turning out to be mediocre. I mean, never in my wildest dreams did I think that we might be saying, hey, look, remember last year, like it can't get any worse than Sendejo. But if you think about it, it's not that it's gotten worse. It's just hasn't gotten better.
And it makes no sense. I mean, you've got guys that can play back there.
Yeah.
So it's just not adding up. It's either it's the scheme or the guys just can't figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I gotta think it's the scheme, man.
I know.
I gotta think it's the scheme. Like, I haven't been impressed with Joe Woods since the day he got here. I look at a guy like he's very soft spoken, quiet, calm demeanor, and I'm like, guys like Greg Williams, he'd punch you in the throat. It's like I kind of want my defensive coordinators to be intimidating, scary guys. Like if they weren't doing this job, they'd be in like a biker gang, because that's the only way that they'd be able to make a living. Like that's a defensive coordinator, like a Buddy Ryan, right? He's just a savage of a human being. Like Buddy Ryan, if he wasn't a defensive coordinator, he would have been a serial killer. Aiden coming through again. Was just kidding. Any word about Kareem? Yeah, I don't know. I got a good laugh out of your comment, Aiden. But any word on Kareem, Mike, or anybody in chat? I've been doing the show ever since we got off, so I haven't seen anything.
It's just the it's a calf, and he'll have an MRI tomorrow, but it doesn't look
at least it wasn't
look too
Achilles.
Good. Yeah.
Oh,
whatever it is, I think it's. I think he tore it. I mean, there's no doubt. I don't see him coming back, maybe for the playoffs, but it looked
bad.
It looked bad.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, and I was talking about when we were down by, I don't know, 2.5 scores today. I turned to my dad and I said, Dad, the biggest thing that we had to be afraid of this season, the only thing this season that was going to stand in our way of getting back to the playoffs was injury. That's it. And Baker getting injured, Jarvis, Nick, Kareem. I'm waiting for Miles. I mean, like I'm not trying to jinx anything, but Miles is the next guy who's going to have some like ruptured something, and then the guys that we brought in to be playmakers. The only thing that I could say, the only guy who's standing out, who's being like an insane, playing out of his mind playmaker is JOK. Everybody else, and you know what? Clowney has played reasonably well. Missing him last week was it's just hilarious to me that you get guys like Ward and Jadeveon Clowney who are so injured that they can't play in a week, and then the very next week starts, they're in practice, and then they're in the game playing full speed the next week. There's a difference between Jarvis Landry having a sprained MCL and not being able to go, and then guys who are like, I'm going to sit out. and not going. Now, maybe that's the team. Maybe the team's saying, like, we got to protect these guys because we can't, if we put any more pressure on this particular, injury or thing that's hurt, it could become even worse. But it just feels real weird when they come back the next week and play the whole damn game. At least with Jedrick, when he got hurt, he would come back in, play for half the game, and then you could tell he tweaked something again and had to go off the field. You could physically see the pain he was in. Guys like that, like I don't expect Conklin to be back on Thursday. If anything, you might see Jedrick because he was at the game standing the whole time today.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, so you get a guy, and not saying standing is the same, and I don't know if he was wearing a boot. I don't know if anything like that. But I don't know. I mean, it is it's scary to think, but to your point or to your question, Mike, about what is it? It's not the talent. It's the scheme. I think it's the coach. And I don't know who's the next man up from a coaching perspective, but I mean, at what point?
Well, Steffanski did say he has all the confidence in Joe Woods and they'll get it right.
I mean, it's a politically very nice thing to say.
Yeah.
And maybe Joe Woods is his guy because I know they've had a relationship. They've been friends. They've known each other for a really long time. The odds of Joe Woods getting cut mid-season, that's very low.
Yep.
Very, like, it's very weird to lose a coordinator mid-season. Right? Only the Browns do that.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. But they better fix it. But at the same time, Stefanski's not off the hook either on the offensive side of the ball because he needs to figure it out because as we talked about earlier, his play calling has been mediocre at best.
It has been, what is it though? Is he trying to manage too much? Has he taken on too much responsibility? Has the league figured him out?
I think that let's use the first drive for example.
Okay.
So let's pretend we're ignorant, right? They've already told us that they are a run first team, right? So we know because they've self-identified that they are a run first team. So you run the ball to set up the play action, right? We know that. Mm-hmm. And recently, the past couple of games, and then we'll get back to the first drive, but the past couple of games, we have run. And then when we can't run anymore, it's like, looking at the paper, like, all right, well, now what do we do?
Right.
And he hasn't figured it out. And then, so now go back to the first drive, you're going empty. So it's shades of Freddie. Like, let me ask you a question. If you're watching a game and the offensive team has nobody in the backfield except for the quarterback and shotgun rather, mm-hmm. Is there any way they can run the ball? I mean, maybe if somebody runs from
team,
right? So
not this quarterback.
So that first drive, you're empty. So now the 4 down linemen are like, well, I'm going to pin my ears back. And then the secondary already knows that, well, they're throwing the ball. So we got to make sure that we're on our game. And it just doesn't work. And then you add Baker that has not been very accurate. And you could blame it on the injury or you cannot blame it on the injury. But it's a recipe for disaster. And it's just not, it just hasn't worked the past couple of games. And especially today, it was just, Yeah, it's got to be better.
You know what? The
That's
other thing too, it's one thing when you're winning or playing well, or statistically you're playing well, but when you're sitting there and it is at home with Baker Mayfield commercials, when you're getting pounded, you know, I gotta tell you, man, it's frustrating to say the least to see cheesy commercials with your quarterback who's at the bottom of the league statistically, and your team is now 500. It's really frustrating to see it. If we were, and you know what, that's the risk you take. And I think, to the frustration that Emily Mayfield had, leading up to this game, part of what she doesn't understand, or what she doesn't seem to be understanding, is that when you're a public, they're a public couple now. They're like David Beckham and Posh Spice. They're a thing that people recognize because you're on my television in my house every football game. Every game. You're in my house. Not just your husband playing football on the field. He's selling me car insurance. He's selling me home insurance. He's selling me television subscriptions. He's selling me whatever the heck Heisman House is selling me, Dr. Pepper, or whatever the heck that is, right? He's selling me stuff. And like Bernie Kosar selling me stuff, he earned it. Like right now, Baker's fighting for an extension. He's fighting. He's at best right now. He's fighting for an extension. At worst, he's fighting for his job and relevancy in the league. Right?
Yeah.
So these commercials are annoying.
No, I agree. And I mean, they're winning and you're laughing your ass off. They're losing and you want it off your screen really quick. I tell me what you think of this. I find it and look, and you know me as well as anyone that I am like full speed ahead, Browns. But
Yep.
like I just saw something on Twitter that like somebody was like, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to be fine. We'll still go 12-5." I just don't know. I don't know what on film that we've seen up to this point would make somebody believe that we could still go 12-5. I mean, if this is the product that we're gonna watch, I mean, I guess you can't go 8-8 anymore, right? So you'd have to go.
You could go 8-8 if you tie one.
You have to tie one. So you got to go 8-9.
You gotta go.
That doesn't even make sense to me.
I hate this.
It doesn't even make sense. I didn't even want to say it because I'm like, it doesn't make sense. But like if you and I hate doing this shit, but so we lost today, right? So you beat the Broncos, right? Let's say we beat the Broncos. So we are 4-3. I think the Steelers at home is going to be a battle, but I think they win. So you're 5-3. Bengals are tough at the Bengals. That's not an easy game, right? As one would think. Then you're at New England, and they've been playing pretty good, and it's away. Detroit is Detroit. You got them at home. That should be a win. Then you're at Baltimore, and then you're home against Baltimore. Between weeks 12 and 14, that might be the make or break. To be quite honest with you.
Make or break for what? For the
season, depending on how those games, before it turn out.
Oh,
because,
yeah.
I mean,
I think the season will be defined before Baltimore.
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, I think we are looking at right now Baltimore looks unstoppable.
Yeah. And then you look at the end of the year, Mike. I mean, you're talking about at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh, the Bengals.
Yeah,
and I mean
we
Pittsburgh. Don't. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying the layups this season. I'm trying to think. Are we through? The Lions are the only layup left.
Yes.
They're the only layup left because we took care of the Texans. We took care of the Bears. The Vikings were touch and go. But every other game, how are the Broncos doing? The Broncos.
They got their doors blown off by the Raiders.
24-34.
But at the same time, if you march out one shoulder Baker, two non-starting tackles, and Dearness Johnson and Demetric Felton on Thursday night, then I might be getting an earful, when Laura and I are catching the flight the next day.
Yeah, Aiden comes through the super chat again. I don't believe in Baker anymore. I'm sorry. His happy feet when the pocket collapses leads to nothing. I'll take Aaron Rodgers if he'll have us. I think a lot of people feel the same way, Aiden. I think I'm telling you right now, like I'm not selling Baker yet because I really do believe that a lot of what we're seeing is bad play calling. It's Todd Monken and Freddie Kitchens 2.0 right now, along with injured players, injured offensive line, injured running back, injured wide receiver, and injured quarterback. I mean, if Baker was 100% healthy and just kind of doing this, I'd say, yeah. But I think, Mike, you had a lot of really good points, like his internal clock about when to feel the pressure. It's not there right now. I don't know if that's something that's off because of the injury or just off in general.
I'm not sure that it was ever there, to be quite honest with you. Here's the thing. Whether he's hurt the rest of the year or, he heals up in 3 weeks, and in the 3 weeks coming, he's gotten used to wearing that harness, and it doesn't matter, in terms of his accuracy, whatever. But the bottom line is, if this is the product that we're going to get, I just don't see the extension. I just don't. Not for the money that he would probably command, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think we even franchise him?
But I mean, the franchise tag's like $30 million, isn't it, for a quarterback? I'm out. So it's like,
yeah, it's
so I don't even know if they believe in him, and at the end of the year, depending on what happens, let's just say hypothetically speaking, it's mediocre the rest of the way, and he was just okay. Mm-hmm. Then they have a decision, because if they don't think that he's worth 40, then I'd have a hard time believing that they would think he's worth 30. But then at the same time, then you have to look at your options, because you can't just let him walk or not give him the fifth year, and then
you're staring
at right, and you're staring at Case Keenum. So I think it's going to be very, very, very interesting. What I've seen so far, I mean, look, I know there's a ton of people that love Baker. I mean, we love Baker.
Yep.
But then there's the ones that really love Baker, right? That want to make sure that Emily and Baker know that they're very welcome here in Cleveland, et cetera, et cetera. Those Baker fans, right?
Yeah.
Even them right now could not look you in the eye with a straight face and say, absolutely, at the end of the season, Baker is worth Josh Allen money.
Yeah. Well, they can't do it if they're being honest with themselves.
Right.
If they're just being fans, then yeah, I mean, you can be a fan of anything. I mean, I said this on Twitter too, because somebody asked about the whole the Bernie Kosar situation when he got cut. How bad was it? That kind of thing. What were the sentiment around? And I responded to a tweet, and I was like, look, there were a lot of people at the time when Bernie got cut that were believing that we should have gone with Testaverde, because Bernie wasn't the same guy, and his injuries were piled up to the point where he couldn't perform. It wasn't the fact that Bernie got cut. or I'm sorry, it wasn't the fact that we're trying to move to a different quarterback. It was that the manner in which it was done that really hurt a lot of Browns fans. Me and my dad as well, because I remember back then, Bernie was not getting it done at that time, and we were sitting there going, I think we got to go to Testaverde. But the difference is Testaverde was like kind of entering into the prime of his career, and even though he was somewhat around the same age as Bernie, he didn't have the abuse, physical abuse, as Bernie did. And then Testaverde, if you think back to that, right after that, he had some great years with the Jets. Did he either won an MVP or was really close to it? I mean, he was really good with the Jets for a while. He was one of those guys, kind of like Josh McCown, who just kind of hung around and they were like, we'll just pay you whatever just to, to be a guy, because he was an expert quarterback after being in the league for 17 years. Aiden comes through again with a super chat. Okay, if Baker makes the playoffs, how much are you going to give him? Mike, I'll let you answer that. 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. I don't know that, and I think that's the issue. I honestly don't know. Like I really don't, and I don't know. I just don't think that you could give him a $40 million contract. He's not shown. I mean, we're very starved for a quarterback here, right? I mean, there's no doubt about it. But
100%.
Has Baker Mayfield shown us anything? I'm trying to see how I can say this. Case Keenum, when he was playing on the Minnesota Vikings, right? All those years, 3-4 years, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Has Baker Mayfield even lived up to that type of play in 4 years?
I think he has. Let me go back really quick. C-Town 216, thank you very much for the buck, my friend. Case Keenum, he had one really good year. He had one good year for Minnesota where he was 11-3. Here's Case Keenum's career. Okay, I'm going to break it down for you.
And I'm not saying like to replace him with Case Keenum by any stretch of the matter. I'm just saying that just in general, like what's the difference between?
It's a fair question.
I'll give you one better. What's the difference between Baker Mayfield and Mark Sanchez? Mark Sanchez led his team to the playoffs twice, right? But he didn't. He was blah.
No,
right?
NFC Championship game twice.
Case Keenum.
That was Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
Okay, so Case Keenum,
Jets, yeah.
Case Keenum in 2013 for Houston 0-8. The next year for Houston 2-0.
Go to his Viking days.
That's what I'm getting to. Then he was 3-2. Then he was 4-5. His first year with the Vikings, which is interestingly his only year with the Vikings.
Was he there 1 year?
1 year.
Which was like 30 touchdowns or something like that.
He was 11-3, 22 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He didn't light it up. I mean, he played effective.
Go to
67%. Then he went to Denver, went 6-10. We beat him that year when that was the Julius Peppers sack. And then in Washington, he was 1-7, and then he's been backing up ever since.
What is Mark Sanchez's stats look like? The only thing, just I guess what I'm getting at is, in 4 years, you've seen what he's done thus far. You've seen other quarterbacks do the same thing. Nothing special, nothing to warrant a $40 million deal. Go ahead.
Aiden coming through again with the super. You think Russell would want to come here? He does everything Baker does, but better. No, I don't think he would come.
No, I don't think so.
But to your point about Mark Sanchez, rookie year, he goes 8-7, starting 15 games. The next year he starts 16 games, so it goes 11-5, throws 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. The next year he goes 8-8, 26 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. The next year 6-9, 13 touchdowns, 18 interceptions. I think the difference between the Sanchez and Baker is Baker's never had a season where he had significantly more interceptions than touchdowns, and Baker's not. I know the 2019 year was a blur, but Sanchez, like, I understand where you're going with that, and it's not a bad comparison, but the more I'm digging into the numbers on it, like, I can't really make that comparison. And the other thing too, with Mark Sanchez, was he didn't come into an inept organization.
I don't know. He came to the Jets.
He came to the Jets when the Jets weren't bad.
Were they good yet? Or is that when they were turning the corner? I don't even know why I went with Sanchez. I'm just trying to find. I guess it would have been better to say, name a mediocre guy in the NFL right now that can lead his team to a positive win season, okay touchdown to interception ratio, that's making $40 million a year.
40 million.
Like, you look at Josh Allen. I mean,
if we have Josh Allen, we're not even, this conversation is not going to happen.
No, like, so you look at Josh Allen from the Bills standpoint. Of course, you had to pay the guy. I mean, he's a prototypical passer, and he could do so much. There's nothing that we've seen thus far that says, yeah, we need to pay this guy for 15 years. And I'm just playing devil's advocate because, I mean, they're going to have the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of a quarterback who is kind of like in that mold. It's
tough
It's
because
tough.
I mean, I don't even know how I came up with Mark Sanchez, but a first round guy that had a playoff run here and there, but was just okay. I mean, and I agree, Aiden, with his eyes and feet are suspect. I totally agree with that. We talk about that on the Wednesday show. Once that pocket starts collapsing a little bit and panic sets in and the happy feet set in, the eyes start to wander and you miss open guys. Absolutely.
Let me ask you this. Here's going to be an interesting comparison.
Yep.
Which you could almost make it, but I would probably even argue that another quarterback is a legacy guy, right? Still in the league right now. Obviously not an answer. He's just kind of hanging on there. But a guy who, like, if you would say, like, in a vacuum, who's going to have a better career, Baker Mayfield or Andy Dalton?
Right.
Andy Dalton, for rookie year 9-7, second year 10-6, third year 11-5, fourth year 10-5, fifth year 10-3. It didn't start going downhill until the sixth year, where he went 6-9-1, then he went 7-9-0, then he went 5-6, then he went 2-11-0. So it went off the cliff at the sixth year. But up to the sixth year, I mean, dude was ripping off double-digit winning seasons the whole time.
That's very true.
Touchdown to interception ratio, similar. Completion percentage, very similar. Right? So are we looking at an Andy Dalton situation, just earlier falling off the cliff? Can the Browns fans, can the people in Cleveland stomach going from the playoffs, beating Pittsburgh in the playoffs, retooling with even more, free agency and stuff like that to make improvements, and then having a losing season after that? Can the fan base, or are we gonna be out for blood?
Like what?
And I think already people are out for blood.
Yeah. I mean, let me ask you this. What do you think that needs to happen in order for him to get a deal big enough from us that he would stay? Because I don't know though. Is there a team, like, are there teams out there that would pay him that kind of money to go there?
Let's think about where it would make the most sense. All right. Because I think if we offer him a contract, I don't think if we end up offering him a contract because we want to keep him, we're going to make him a competitive contract, right?
Yep.
You don't, your quarterback, somebody that you believe in, that you want to have on the team for long, because we're making a commitment. We're putting a wedding ring on the guy, right? So if we're not totally in love, are we going to give him a smaller diamond? Or are we just going to say, hey, we're going to give you the diamond, and we're going to say, hey, you've earned it through your play, through your consistency, through who you are as a person, how you represent the team in the city, your leadership, all of those things. Those are the things. And then, the wins and losses. But in football's not golf, right? The wins and losses can't only be blamed on Baker. Now, I think he does deserve a brunt of the criticism today with 3 turnovers.
Absolutely.
Right. And I mean, the thing that neutralizes that is your touchdown production. And one of them was a miracle touchdown.
And that's the other thing. Yeah. I mean, and you know what's funny, Mike, is you look like a game like today. Obviously, Steffanski was more interested in passing than he was running. I mean, there were 14, 15 rushes, whatever it was today. And I mean, you would think in an empty set, throwing the ball, that your quarterback would be, 350 and 3 touchdowns, maybe 2 picks. That's not what you get.
No, Aiden coming through with another super chat. In a perfect world, could have had Burrow, Ohio's own. I mean, you could play the coulda game all day long.
Yeah, you could. I mean,
you could. I mean, like
we missed Kyler by a year.
We missed Kyler by a year. We missed Burrow by a year.
Yeah, missed a bunch of guys, right? We're always the bridesmaid.
But here's the thing: it's not like that class didn't have a bona fide superstar. It just happened to be a guy from a bullshit college who had all the measurables without the tape, and who knows what Josh Allen is if you put him with Hugh Jackson. Who knows? He could be waiting tables today, right? Or he could be baling hay. You don't know what it did, but if I'm Baker's agent and I got to sell Baker Mayfield and I got to sell why he deserves, top dollar or whatever the top amount that we think he should make. I'm selling the history. I'm selling the leadership. I'm selling the fact that he's playing hurt. He's grinding it out. He's doing everything he can. He's not quitting on the team. He's doing everything in his power to be out there, even though he's not anywhere near 100%. I'm selling like how many jerseys are out there. People wearing number 6. How many people are whatever the social sentiment is, positive, neutral, negative. You're selling all those things, but the Browns have to decide, because the Browns have a guy who they're going to ask to get married to, and they're taking a look at the mother-in-law who weighs currently about 350 pounds, and they're going, right now she looks good, she looks okay, she's toughing it out, but they're looking at the 350-pound mother-in-law going, is this the future, or does this person have the fortitude to tough it out and beat the genetics and be the guy? Whereas, the other way, if you give him a ring and it's an insulting ring, then you get into an Aaron Rodgers situation where it's just like you're pissed off at the franchise and the franchise is not thrilled with you and trying to make amends. You can't really come to a conclusion. Then he walks. But I think the one place where it makes the most sense if Baker does not play in Cleveland is he goes to Houston and goes back to Texas, and they need a quarterback really bad. He's a guy who goes back home where he's happy, and that could be a home for Baker if it's not in Cleveland, because they need a quarterback too. I'm trying to think like who's going to be in a position if the open market is sitting there talking. Who's the team that's going to have the cap room and the desire to take Baker Mayfield other than us, right? So that if you're the Browns, you're going, okay, cool. If I'm going to offer you $30 million, which is an insult because he's probably looking for 40, 45, even though he hasn't earned it, he's asking for it. Inflation, whatever you want to call it. right? So I don't know. I think Baker currently is playing to his contract. I think he has played to his contract. I think he's worth the dollars that we've paid him so far. It just comes down to, is he worth the dollars that we have to pay him? And do we want to lock him up forever? Or do we want to go out there and play and go back to online dating? Because online dating, there's a lot of Case Keenums out there, right? There's Andy Dalton out there, right? There's guys like that. Now there are, every once in a while, there's a Tom Brady out there in online dating. But guess what? Everybody else wants the Tom Brady too, and they're willing to give, their firstborn child to have a chance at him. So I'll ask you this, Mike. Think about the we have, as Browns fans, we have to be objective and go, if we're willing to throw out Baker Mayfield, if we're willing to toss him out and let him go, back home to Texas or wherever the heck they might go, what is the option? Because if it's DeShaun Kaiser, if it's Colt McCoy, if it's guys like that we have to suffer through for another 20 years when we have a guy who maybe hasn't reached his ceiling yet, similarly to what we talked about last week with Drew Brees, how he really didn't come into his own until year 6 or 7, right? So are we throwing him away? What is the alternative? What is our option? Because we can't be single.
No,
we have to date somebody.
And I honestly don't know what that answer would be, to be quite honest. Not this early in the season. Yeah, I don't know if I can't think of anybody that's coming out that. I mean, the college season is so young. I mean, there's a couple there's a couple kids out there that have talent. Yeah, but
UCLA, DTR, Matt Corral from Ole Miss. I mean, the kid from Florida, the kid from Oklahoma.
So then you get to a point where what's it going to take to get up there to take somebody like that, and then B, what are the odds that the person that is up there wants to trade that away because they're looking for a franchise quarterback? And if the person that's coming, let's put it this way, if the person if there's a guy coming out that's an exceptional talent that we would want, there's probably not enough number 1 picks that you're going to be able to get up to that spot. And take that person.
There's not a Trevor Lawrence in this draft.
No, there's not, and that's the other thing. So
it's not
you're what are you doing then at that point?
And you can't draft a first round quarterback with Baker entering his 5th year. You can't do it.
You know who the highest paid quarterback is this year?
The highest paid quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess,
or I should say the highest, what next year's salary, what the highest paid quarterback towards the cap number would be next year.
I'm just gonna throw out some names. Cousins.
Cousins is 3rd, 45 mil. One I think would surprise you.
Garoppolo?
No.
I was throwing out a possible surprise there. Russell Wilson?
Nope, Russell's 37.
There's 37?
Mm-hmm. Next year's cap number is 37 million.
Oh, I thought you said he was number 37 out of like
no.
Holy shit.
He is 2468.
It's not Ben.
Nope.
It's not any of the young guys.
Nope. I'll give you this. Aaron Rodgers is 2.
To Matt Ryan?
Yep. 48.6 cap hit next year.
Yeah, when you said Rodgers, I'm like, okay, well, it's got to be a super old veteran
dude.
Let me ask you this. Let's throw out some more hypotheticals because I'm having fun now, putting my pretend hat on. Legal issues aside.
Oh boy. Oh boy,
Do
I know
you,
where you're
do you
going.
make the call?
I have to tell you, if you wanted my opinion on that,
Yes.
I almost believe that Philadelphia is in a tryout period with Jalen Hurts, and if he doesn't work, I think the guy you're talking about winds up in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Yeah, because I mean, the only places I would say that he could go, and I think Philadelphia is just crazy enough to do it,
Yep.
would be Atlanta. But I don't think Atlanta, after the Michael Vick situation, is willing to roll the dice on a questionable character situation at quarterback.
But what's funny too is we've been so inept for so long that, I mean, we traded out of DeShaun Watson like a million times.
And that's the other thing too, is like, do you see DeShaun Watson, his personality, his decision-making ability off the field meshing with, super Catholic Kevin Steffanski? I mean, do you?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Fly Guy is so excited about the Ravens in the AFC North.
I mean, if I were a Ravens fan in the AFC North too, I'd be the same way.
Well, let me ask you
Can't
this:
blame him.
Would we be? I would say that I'm going to give you a statement, and it's a true or false statement, and I will give you my answer before I even give you the question.
Okay.
And I'm going to say true. And the question is, true or false? I don't know if it's a question as much as a statement, but true or false? Lamar Jackson has honed his skills as a passer the past couple of years to a point where he's actually kind of impressive when you watch him. True or false?
True.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It is it's I mean, Lamar Jackson has turned himself into a very scary weapon in all facets of the game.
And that's what, and you and I have talked about this on the Wednesday show, I believe. That is, Lamar Jackson was the, how could I say this? Not the option, but Lamar Jackson was a nice, hey, we're a good team. We could trade back into the first round at 32 and just take this kid. He's talented. Maybe we can make it work. We're good enough that if we miss on this at 32, coming back in, it is what it is. And they were able to just come back in, snag the kid, and they turned him into or molded him into a talented quarterback in the league.
Brilliant move.
But you're able to do things like that when you are a solid franchise, and they were able to do it, and they didn't miss a beat.
Let me Aiden, thank you for the super. Lamar Jackson's a Jedi. Hard to argue with that. Let me tell you this, Mike. Coming into this game, if I told you in the same category as Davis Mills, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, and Tua Tagovailoa. I can't pronounce his last name.
I know.
Sorry.
I'm always horrible trying to pronounce his name too.
Tagovailoa, I think his name is. Okay.
That was close. I like that.
Close enough. You put Baker Mayfield smack in the middle of Davis Mills, Jimmy Garoppolo, Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor, and Tua. Right? That's his peer group statistically. Okay? If you look at who's going to be available next year, Garoppolo is probably going to be available. Who else? Teddy Bridgewater. Coming into today, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's not bad. Drew Lock is going to be available. Taylor Heineke, 9 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Carson Wentz, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then you're getting into the category of players that you're not going to have a chance to get.
Right.
Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Jameis Winston. We would have had a shot at Jameis. We would have had to make a very bold decision to decide to go with Jameis Winston in this stage of the game. This was the prove it year for Baker. We're letting Baker prove it, right? Kirk Cousins, Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert out of the entire group, right? Because you look at the young quarterbacks, Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, their peer group, statistically right now, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, Dak Prescott. Those are the guys that surround Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. Baker Mayfield is Davis Mills. I mean, I could say it again. Like, it's the top of the league versus the bottom of the league.
But you know what's funny too is I think, and you let me know what you think in the chat as well, but I think that Baker Mayfield, and again, he could turn the season around and we could all be, laughing about this in 11 games or whatnot. But if you look back to rookie Baker and shades of 19, but strictly back to 2018 Baker.
Okay.
He could throw the ball everywhere. He's got a big enough arm. There's nothing on the route tree that Baker Mayfield couldn't hit it accurately. And that goes for going off structure, which he's exceptional at. There's no argument about that. But then 19 happened.
Yep.
And then Steffanski came in 20. And after the debacle that was 19, he came in with his offense, and none of those guys to a man on offense after the embarrassment that went on in 2019, could look at the coach and say, well, wait a second, my strength is X, Y, and Z. It was no. At that point, Baker was broken. Steffanski worked to put him back together again. And the thing is that when Steffanski put him back together again, he totally changed the game for Baker Mayfield and what Baker Mayfield is. I would not be surprised if Baker Mayfield left us and went somewhere else that ran an offense similar to what he ran in 2018, believe it or not, the Hugh Jackson offense, but where, you're taking shots all over the field and getting guys open, beating the zone here and there and taking some deep shots and whatnot. Mm. I think you would see rookie Baker again, but I think at this point he's been in this offense and that offense, and he's been told to, drop back with your footwork like this, and then he was told, no, that's not how you want to do it. You want to do it like this. So I think in a weird way, we joke about it, but I think he was ruined because I think if you had a competent team when he in 18 and a competent coach that kept that going, like that was the Baker that you were supposed to get. And it just didn't work out.
And that's the thing too. It's like, if you really think about the whole conundrum of it is Lamar Jackson with Hugh Jackson, right? Because the Ravens designed their whole offense around his strengths, and that's why he's so great. If you try to take Lamar Jackson and put him in Tom Brady's offense, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. And that was when I watched the Thursday night game, I watched Tom Brady, who I'm watching quite a bit now because he fell to me in fantasy. Which is like, it was either going to be him or Dak Prescott. The guy took Dak Prescott the pick ahead of me. So I was like, well, I need a quarterback. I'm going to take Brady. Right. And the thing that is just so incredible to watch with Tom Brady is that he drops back, he takes 2 steps, he surveys the field, and he fires the ball. And when he throws it, it's always dead on accurate. And then when he throws an interception, it's because he got deflected or something. And, no sweat off my teeth. No problem. We're still going to win the game. I could throw 2 or 3 interceptions. No problem. But when Baker fumbles or throws an interception, it seems like they always turn into points, and it always turns into some insurmountable thing that we can't stop. And you look at the league. If you look at the cream of the crop, you got guys like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying to think, like, who else would you? Pat Mahomes. Those are probably the guys I would say are, like, without a doubt, those are the top. Maybe Russell Wilson as well when he was healthy. The guys who are just they are the cream of the crop. Those guys: Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Veteran presence. They've won. They all have Super Bowls. If you look at that, and then you look at what we are dealing with every week, it doesn't pass the smell test. And, as sad as it's been, because Baker has been the attitude, he's come in, he's overcome. It's never been easy for him. It is Baker's entire life. It's never been easy. High school, college, other college team, he overcomes and wins. And he won, although he didn't win the national championship, he wins the individual award. And then it goes down to winning the first overall pick, which is a win. It is an accomplishment. And then to turn around a franchise and take us from the depths of despair, 0-16, 1-15, and brings us back to the playoffs and to relevancy. And then not only that, but winning in the playoffs. He won a game, and he won it in Pittsburgh. So then we thought this year is going to be the year that we're going to take the big step forward. And so far, what we've seen is we've seen somewhat of a reversion back to 2019. And that was the worst thing that we could have had, is that now a guy who he's in a prove it year for himself. He's in a prove it year for the fans, for everything. And he's not doing it. And on top of that, he injured himself. That it's one thing if he would have just got hit, or somebody falls on him or landed on him the wrong way, and it was like, well, it was the offensive line. He threw the interception, and then he decided to take the guy on with his own shoulder. Everything that's happening to Baker Mayfield, everything, is happening because of what he's done to himself. Now, the protection today, not so much, is what it is. But the bottom line is, after just recapping the kid's entire life, he's never had it easy. And we as Browns fans have never had it easy either. And so, or at least I guess since like the 1940s, you look at it and go, at this point, although I love the guy, he has a lot more to prove in order to get that ring. And when I say the ring, I don't mean like the championship ring. I mean the ring from, the ring from the Browns. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, hey, we've been at it for 1 hour and 54 minutes, so coming up to 2 hours. It's been a long one. Probably should wrap it up. Thank you everybody, for being here. I could give a shout out to everybody. Thank you very much for everybody in chat. All the members, our new member, Chubba Wubba Hub 2024. My guys, the Browns fans, the Cardinals fans, the Ravens fan. We love you all. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for helping us get to 4,600 on the way to 5,000 subscribers. And you know what, guys? We'll see you back on Wednesday. Mike will give you the final thoughts.
Yeah. It was devastating loss. That's how I feel about it. I didn't see it coming. We were railroaded. Got to bounce back in on Thursday against Denver. If you don't, I know it's a long season, but that's really tough to come back from looking at the rest of the schedule and the psyche of the players at that point. So I'm just hoping that we get through some of these MRIs or whatnot, and we some aren't as bad. We get some of these guys back. Shout out to all you guys in the chat and girls tonight. It was a great time. Really enjoyed it. And I'm sure we'll have some good stuff to talk about on the eve of my trip on Wednesday.
Yes. So we will do, since we didn't do the Sabo Apparel shirt giveaway today, we'll do the Sabo Apparel. We'll save it for Wednesday. And we'll see you guys back on Wednesday. Thank you guys for helping us build this channel. Thank you guys for being super active in chat. We've been reading them. We've been trying to respond as much as possible, but I know a lot of times it's a conversation between y'all, and we appreciate it. And thank you guys as always. You guys help. This is Brown's therapy, kind of after a loss. And I know I get heated after the game. My mom yelled at me today because I was too heated during the game, and that's just how it is. I'm a very difficult guy to be around watching Browns games. I know it, and it's like my like deep DNA starts seeping out when the Browns play. But thank you guys very much. This is all passion and love, and this channel has been a lot of fun and allows me to get this all off my chest. So I appreciate it. And Mike, thank you again for joining us as always. My dad out there, thank you for all the new subscribers, all the new people who hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button yet, still some time. Go ahead and hit it. And all the new members and everything like that. Love you guys, and we'll see you on Wednesday at 7:00. Go Browns.
Go Browns.